Good afternoon, folks. I've got discussion C for you this afternoon. And now for C, we are discussing terminal suffering and end of life care. Okay, so with that being said, give me a few minutes to set up for the show and then we'll dig into the topic, okay? Thank you. I'll be right with you. Okay, folks. Title: 3 Lives in Pain. Multi-patient narratives that I've made for you. Okay, first one is discussing something in end of life care or hospice that we see a lot with cancer patients. It's called bone pain. Okay, we're going to go through that now for narrative 1. Title: bone pain that rewrites the body. Samuel was 59, a machinist whose life had been measured in tolerance and torque. His hands, broad, calloused, steady, had shaped metal for decades. He used to say he could read steel the way some people read faces. When metastatic prostate cancer reached his spine and pelvis, those same hands trembled when he tried to shift in bed. He told me the pain felt like the bones are arguing with each other. It was his way of describing the deep, dulling ache of bone metastases, the kind of pain that feels geological, as if the earth itself is grinding. In the early weeks, he could still sit in the chair by the window. He watched the maple trees outside turn from green to gold. Then the battle. Brown of late autumn. He timed his days by the light on the branches. But as the cancer hollowed out his vertebrae, even the smallest shift sent lightning through his hips. He began to fear movement. He apologized to nurses for grimacing when they repositioned him, even though the pain made him gasp. Bone pain has a particular vocabulary: pressure, drilling, weight collapse. Samuel used all of them. One afternoon, after a microfracture in his sacrum, he whispered, "I don't know pain. I didn't know pain could make you forget your own name." His wife, soft-spoken, steady, held his hand and traced circles on his palm, grounding him back into himself. We escalated opioids, added steroids, tried biphosphonates, even a palliative radiation dose. The pain softened but never left. Bone pain rarely does. It becomes a kind of weather system inside the body. In the final days, Samuel's world narrowed to breath and stillness. He slept more, spoke less. The pain changed. Less sharp, more diffuse, like a fading echo. On his last morning, he looked at the maple tree one more time. The branches were bare. "It's quiet," he said. "The storm is gone." Okay, narrative 2, guys. Lena, the fire of pancreatic cancer. Lena was 72, a retired choir director whose voice still carried authority even when her body could no longer keep rhythm. She had spent her life teaching people how to breathe together, how to hold a note, how to listen. Pancreatic cancer stole her breath first, then her appetite, and then her ease. She called her pain the fire, not metaphorically. She meant it literally. It's like somebody lit a match behind my ribs, she told me, and they kept blowing on it. Pancreatic cancer pain is deep, visceral, stubborn. It threads itself through the nerves behind the stomach, radiating into the back like a slow burn. Lena felt as heart as heat, pressure, and a kind of internal scorching. In the early phase, the pain came in waves. She could still hum hymns under her breath, still correct her daughter's posture, still insist on real cream in her coffee. But the pain learned her patterns. It arrived earlier, stayed longer, demanded more. By the time she entered hospice, the fire had become constant. We tried everything: long aching opioids, long acting opioids, breakthrough doses, a Celtic plexus block, gabapentin, heat packs, cold packs. Relief came in fragments, like embers, briefly dimming. One evening she asked me to sit with her while she tried to remember the alto line of a song she once taught. She closed her eyes, humming through the pain, her voice thin but steady. The body, she said, has been good to me. I just didn't expect it to end in fire. In her final hours, her breathing slowed, the fire dimmed. She whispered to her daughter, "It's cool now." She died with her hand resting on her chest, as if feeling the last warmth fade. George, the pain of breath failing. George was 64, a former paramedic who had spent his life running toward emergencies. ALS was the first emergency he couldn't outrun. He used to joke that he'd seen every way a body could fail until his own began to fail in ways he never imagined. ALS pain is not the sharp, stabbing kind. It is the pain of muscles locking, joints stiffening, skin breaking down, and the terror of air hunger. The sensation of drowning in open air. George described it as breathing through a straw someone keeps pinching. In the early months, he joked with staff, insisting on calling his wheelchair the chariot. He told stories about his calls he'd been on. He'd run, babies delivered in parking lots, heart attacks reversed in grocery aisles, but as his diaphragm weakened, the jokes faded. He developed cramps in his calves that made him wince, shoulders, shoulder pain from immobility, and pressure ulcers that stung with every dressing change. The worst was the air hunger. Even with non invasive ventilation, he felt the panic rise when his breath caught. It's, it's not pain like a knife, he said. It's pain like a verdict. His wife slept in the recliner beside him, waking whenever his breathing changed. She learned the rhythm of his distress, the long pause, the shallow inhale, the fluttering exhale. She had become fluent in the language of his suffering. The final days, he became quieter, conserving breath. He asked me once, "Will it hurt?" At the very end, I told him the truth that as consciousness fades, the body often lets go. On his last night, his breathing softened, the panic eased. His wife held his face in her hands. "It's peaceful," she whispered. He nodded, and then he was gone. These stories reveal terminal pain is not a single phenomenon. It is bone pain that feels architecturally pressure, collapse, fracture, vertebral pain that feels elemental, fire, weight, internal burning, respiratory failure that feels external panic, drowning verdict. Pain becomes a character in the room, sometimes as an adversary, sometimes a companion, sometimes a fading signal. These narratives show what you already know immediately, that the work of palliative care is not simple to reduce pain through pain, though we try with everything we have. It is to witness it, to name it, to help patients carry it until they no longer need to. Okay, guys, that is your C for tonight. I have one more for you, and I'm going to take a small break, and then I'll have that for you, which will be D for the night. And just to just to whet everybody's curiosity, the next topic is quieting how how cannabis helped ease dementia, aggression, agitation. Okay, so that's next on the round for tonight. I'll be back on shortly with D for y'all. For now, Gator Wellness. Take care, folks.